So this is the Learning Management System training. And if at any time during the training you have a question, just please feel free to interrupt.
Okay.
And so this is the login page. There are actually two login pages. There's a learner login page, and then there's an admin login page. So you can bookmark either one of these as you wish. The admin login page is going to have admin and the URL. And this is going to take you directly into the admin area of the portal. And then there's the learner admin, or actually the learner login. And any learner can log in through this page. Administrators can log in through this page. But a learner that tries to log into this page will receive an error message unless they have admin rights in the system. And but like I said, anybody can log in through the learner side. And if a user does not have their password or they forgot their password, they can use this link to reset their password. All they have to do is enter their username or email address, and that should be the same in the system.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and log in. And you'll see that I've updated the logo, and I see there's a gray background. I need to remove that gray background, so I'll make a note of that to do that today.
Looks good.
Thank you. And any information that you see is able to be updated. So for example, if you don't like the picture of this turbine, you can send me a picture and I'll replace it. And any coloring, I've tried to match the blue in your logo with this. So just to cover some of the highlights of the welcome page, the catalog will be the first row that will appear unless a user has training that is assigned, so or that they have enrolled themselves into. And so the catalog will have courses that the user can enroll themselves into. And we do have some training that we entered into the system that's available to all users, and they're these pandemic courses, so they're available system-wide. I can remove those if you want. It's kind of something that we offered to all of our clients for free, just to help with some education during the times of 2020. And so, for example, if I enroll myself into this course and start it and then go back to the welcome page, you'll see a new row has been added, and it's called My Courses. So My Courses will display training that the user has been enrolled in. So you express that you do not want your users to be able to enroll themselves into training. You want to control what they're enrolling themselves into.
Right.
So whenever you build training and assign it to users, it's going to appear on the very top row as My Courses. And then whenever a user starts a training, whoops. It's too happy on the close button. Whenever a user starts a training and they do not complete it, it'll start another row called Resume Courses. So as your users are enrolling themselves into training or being assigned training, as they start training and do not complete training, it will add training to this Resume row. So it's just going to be training they have started but not completed. Other highlights are the transcript. So training that the user has started, and or all the training that the user has associated with their profile will be listed under their transcript. And there's also the profile page, and this is going to list all the information for the user. The user can edit their information, but they're limited as to what information they can edit. So they can't edit their username or email address, first or last name. They can add an address if they want. So any of the information with the white or the boxes are whited out or not grayed out, they can edit that information. And if you want to lock any of this information down where they can't edit it, just let me know and I'll lock these fields.
Okay.
And this is also where a user will change their password. So all they have to do is enter their current password and then a new password, and they can update their existing password to something new. Whenever users are first logging into the system, they will be required to reset their password because the password that we'll give them initially is going to be temporary.
Okay.
And any messages that are sent in the system will show up with this under this mailbox. And the navigation on the right is going to kind of mirror everything that you've seen so far. The dashboard is going to show the welcome page. My Courses is going to highlight courses that the user's been assigned. Catalog's going to show courses that the user can enroll themselves into. If there's any type of training resources that you've added to the system, those will be listed under resources. And Calendar is going to show any courses that have due dates or renewal dates. Any type of significant date that is attached to a piece of training will appear on the user's calendar.
I like that.
And again, you have transcript and profile. We already went through those pages. And email support will open up an email client with our email address already filled in. So if a user needs to contact us for any reason, this email will come to me.
Good deal.
So any questions about the learner side so far?
No, sir. It looks really good.
Okay, good. Glad you like it. So I'm going to move on to the admin side. And so if you are an administrator, you'll see an admin link in the dropdown. And you can also access page, like I said, with the special admin link. So if you're logged out and come straight to the admin link and log in through that page, this is where you will land.
Okay.
Learner side will take you back to the learner side of the LMS. And also you can get there through here, where the learner experience. And so the first page you'll land on is going to be the dashboard. And this has, really all I want to highlight on this page is the saved reports.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you build reports in the system, as you save them, they'll be listed here. And so if you have a report that you're running often, all you have to do is come here, click on the report, and it'll take you directly to that report.
Okay.
Learners is going to highlight the number of learners you have in the system. And one of these is going to be my demo account that I've added to the demo. Courses is going to be, it's going to highlight courses that are in the system, and you don't have any users that are taking training yet, so there's nothing that's going to be highlighted.
Okay.
And then we have courses, users, and reports. Those are the main areas that are the main areas of the admin. And so just first looking at courses, this is going to list all of the courses that are in the system. There are some courses that are kind of dummy courses that I have in for demo purposes. And and this is actually listing all the MarTech courses as well. And you'll see everything has a little code at the beginning of the course. So whenever I'm looking at the thousands of courses we have in the system from all of our users, this will be an identifier, so I know I'm able to separate them out.
Okay.
And whenever you first come to this page, it's actually going to look like it's going to look like this. And I did mention that you can save a layout. So if you come to the drop down on the left, it's going to show you all the information that can be added to this report. Essentially, this is a course page, but it is also a report. It's kind of a report on the courses. And if we come over to the users, you're going to see the exact same type of layout, and this is actually a report on the users. So the items that you can add to this report are going to be different. It's all going to be information as it relates to users. And the information, and you can edit on courses is going to be information that specifically relates to courses.
Okay.
So you can add columns to your report. Let's say if I want to see the vendor, if there's any due date associated with the training. And then whenever you save, if you want to save your report, you come over here to this icon and click the save button, or actually the plus button, and that will allow you to name the report. And then whenever you star a report, that's going to favorite that report. So that will be the default report whenever you come to that page.
Okay.
And that will also show on your saved reports page. So any reports that you have favorited, it's going to save on the dashboard. Any questions about courses so far?
No, sir. I love that reporting part of it. That's really neat.
Great. Some things I want to point you to, again, this is going to be laid out the same for each page. Your actions are going to be on the right. So these are actions as they relate to courses. If we come over to users, these are actions as they relate to users. If I start selecting a user, like if I select one user, I have a set of actions that will appear. If I select more than one user, it's going to change my actions a little bit.
Okay.
This is a mass action, whereas if one user is selected, it's just an individual action. And the same with courses. If I select one course, it's going to give me a group of actions. More than one course, it's going to change those actions. So when assigning training, I can select all of the courses that I want and scroll down the page. And I also want to point out that whenever you first get to a page, it's going to automatically list 20 pages per lesson. And there are some courses that you'll see that I need to do some cleaning up, and I will do that after this meeting. But if you come down here and change this to whatever your preferred viewing is, and then save that report, anytime you come to this page, it's going to show the number of training that you have listed in the drop-down. So the reason why that's important, if you're only viewing 20 courses, then let's say you're selecting courses, then you go on to the next page, it's going to deselect the courses that you had selected on the previous page.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if you select users, or if you select courses and then enroll users, this is going to allow you to select users that you want to enroll into training.
That is awesome.
And there's another way you can do it as well. If you come over to the user side and select users that you want to enroll into training, click enroll users, and then you can pick the courses that you want to enroll the user into. But I'm not going to enroll any users in the training just yet. So just looking at some of the settings that I have for these courses, and all of the courses are going to feel the same way whenever you're in the edit area. So the MarTech courses, I would not change any of the information in here, especially the syllabus page. If you change this information, it could break the course.
Okay.
Availability, there's no availability that's set. If we were going to allow self-enrollment, we would set the self-enrollment option, and that would cause this course to appear in the catalog. Completion, this is going to allow the user to re-enroll immediately after completing the course. If you decide that you do not want users to be able to re-enroll into training, I can edit this. So if there are any edits that you want to make on the MarTech courses, let me know and I can do that through the back end.
Okay.
Otherwise, you would have to create, or you would have to go in and edit over 570 courses. So some of the types of learning objects that you can add to the system, you can add an individual online course. And the online course, and this is something that you're creating, if you come to the syllabus tab and click add learning object, this is going to show you the different types of learning objects you can add to the system. So an object would be something like a PDF or a PowerPoint. A video, if you had a video that you wanted to upload, you could upload that through here and you would be able to deliver that to your users as a learning object. And the object could be something, if I click next, training video, and then you enter the source. This could be something like a YouTube video. So if you found a video online that you wanted users to use for training, you could add that here.
That is too cool.
Task will be something, let's say if you want to, if you want some sort of observation task where a user has to be observed doing something, and you also have someone that is going to observe that, this is where you would add that type of learning object. I will say that in the coming months, the admin area is going to be upgraded, and we're going to have something that's added called an observation checklist, and that will allow you to create a checklist for certain tasks that can be validated for the users. Assessment is going to be a test that you can add or you can build in the system. So for example, if I want to give this test a passing score of 100, and options, this is going to define the options. So if a user, let's say we can allow them to take the test 2 times, randomize our question order, randomize the answer order. And we can create messages for the test and add questions for the test. So if you click create question, we'll say what color is the sky? And we'll say this is a multiple choice single answer. We'll say blue is the correct answer. So I basically added one question. Blue is going to be the correct response for that question. And then I can add another question, or that's a question group. I can add another question into this group. So you can group your questions. So I can have a like different focal areas for the questions. So this is really nice if you want to create your own tests within within the system. So one reason you could use this is, let's say you have a curriculum that you have built and you have maybe 10 courses within the curriculum. You can create your own specific test for that curriculum. Now, each individual course is going to have its own test that's going to be specific to that course. But if you wanted to test your users' knowledge further, you could create your own little test to add in at the end of the curriculum.
That is awesome. I really like that feature.
Yeah. And survey is, I mean, just exactly what it is. It's a survey. You create a question. So yeah, just a little bit more freedom. I don't know if I have any clients that have actually used surveys, but they're in there. So
Good.
if you have any e-learning, like actual e-learning courses that are from other vendors, you can add those to the system as well. You will have to know in what method they're being delivered. So chances are they would be SCORM 1.2, SCORM 2004, or AICC. I'm kind of glancing over this information at a high level because I want to have an opportunity to touch on all the major parts, but if at any time you need more training in the system, you can just book a training call with me and I can go over these items in more detail.
Okay, that's great.
And like I said, availability is going to allow a user to self-enroll. So we can set our department, and by default, our department's going to come up. We'll see how many users are going to be able to self-enroll. If you have something that you want to enroll your users in automatically, let's say you set up a curriculum for a new employee safety training, then you can set it up for automatic enrollment. That way, anytime a user is added to the system, they'll automatically be enrolled into that training.
Okay.
And there are other settings as well. One of the more important things on this page, probably the most important thing on this page, is the course visibility. And this is for administrators. The reason why this is so important, and this is often forgotten, so I'm having to remind administrators a lot, that you at least want to set the admin visibility to your department. Otherwise, your training is going to be visible to every administrator within the system.
Okay.
Completion is going to define how the completion is going to act within the system. So if you want to attach a certificate to the training, you can do that. You do have to select a certification file or certificate file. And if you click on certificates, it's going to list some certificates. So if you are, if you think about certifications, there's a couple of ways they can act. You can have an expiration. You can have one that's just a single certificate that does not have an expiration. And these are titled as such. So if something has an expiration and no score, which would typically be something like a curriculum, because you can't score a curriculum, but you can score an individual course. So just keep that in mind whenever you're selecting the type of certificate that you want to use.
Okay.
And we can set the expiration, so we can say 1 year. This will expire after 1 year, and we can also set the re-enrollment. So we can say 1 month before this expires, the user will be automatically re-enrolled into training.
Okay.
You can preview the certificate, and this will show you what the certificate will look like. And this information will be filled in automatically. But this is just another option, not something you have to use. And re-enrollment will define how a user can re-enroll into training once they've completed it. And like I said, all of our training is set with an open re-enrollment.
Okay.
And you can also set what's called a post-enrollment. And what a post-enrollment is, let's say you do have a training program created. Let's say part 1 of a training program, and you have a part 2 curriculum. You can add a post-enrollment, and we'll say whenever this user completes this training, maybe 7 days after they'll be enrolled into whatever courses we have selected.
Cool.
Messages by default are turned on for learning objects. So if you do not want emails being sent out, all you have to do is turn off this toggle. But if you do want them to be sent out, all you have to do is leave that on. Let's say we only want an enrollment email, we can turn off the completion email. A nudge email is going to, let's say this is going to be sent every 7 days for 3 weeks or 3 occurrences. And what that's going to do, it's going to remind the user that they have training assigned until they complete it.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Because that's the problem I have is a lot of these kids wait till the last minute. So having something to remind them would be great.
Yeah, and you want to sort of figure out if you're going to do this in the beginning, because if you assign training that does not have nudge turned on, and then you turn nudge on for the training, it's not going to turn nudges on for training that's already been assigned.
Gotcha. Okay.
If you want to customize the email, let's say we have this nudge turned on, we can click Customize Template, and we'll be able to see what email is being sent out. And there are certain tags that are going to automatically fill in. So this is going to be first name and last name. It's going to list the course name, start date, login information. And you have all these other tags that you can add to the email. And you can add other information. So under your number or email. And you can also decide if other people are going to receive copies of the email. So if you want administrators to receive copies of the email, then you can turn that on. If you don't want the learner to receive the email, so you only want administrators to receive these nudges so they can see when users aren't completing training, you have that ability as well.
Okay.
Resources would be any type of document you want to attach to the course. And that could be like a PDF. Let's say if it's a new employee curriculum, maybe you attach a new employee workbook. Uploads is going to be anything that you're going to require the user to upload to complete the training. I don't know if I have any users that are using this, but it is available.
Okay.
So I'm going to cancel all of that. What I want to build, probably what I think you're going to use the most is curriculum. Course bundle is going to allow you to select a group of courses that you can assign to a user. And all you can do is you can set the availability, and you can also associate an enrollment email. Probably 9 times out of 10, I see users or administrators create training for their user, and then they come and ask, oh, well, how do I do this? And I explain, usually if you would have selected curriculum, you would have had these options, but unfortunately you chose bundle. So I think if you want to assign a group of training to a user, I recommend choosing curriculum.
Okay.
You have to enter a title. You do not have to enter a category, but I do recommend selecting a category. And this is just going to, whenever you are assigning the training, it's just another means of organizing. It's not something that's required, but you might see a use for it in a little bit further down our training.
Okay.
So courses is where we'll actually build the curriculum, and we can set as many groups as we want. So, and we can name these groups. Call this PPE, tools, generation. If I click add courses, I know because I know the catalog in our course listing, I know our personal protective equipment courses are going to be in the 100 series. And tools, I can also search for a keyword. So if I enter tools, it's going to have anything that has tools in the title show up. I'll add some power generation courses. So I have 3 sections to this curriculum. As it's set now, a user can take training at will. So they can open up the curriculum and they can take this training, or they can take this training or this training. If we set pace progress, it's going to force the user to complete this training before they can move on to the next section.
Okay.
And we have must complete all. So if I have a minimum of 2 courses, then if a user completes 2 of these courses, any of these 2 courses, then they can move on to this next section. Again, availability is going to be exactly the same as the other courses. You set your self-enrollment or automatic enrollment. You have to set your admin visibility. Completion, we can associate a certificate with this. We can associate a post-enrollment. Messages, just the same as the others. And some messages will change a little bit. They're going to be specific to the type of training. So with the curriculum, we have an enrollment email, completion email, and we can turn on nudge emails as well. So, so once you save, let me show you one more thing. Are you going to have any other administrators in the system besides you?
No, sir, just me.
Okay. I was going to say, if you have other administrators in the system and you do not want them to be able to edit training, then you would select yourself as the editor. And that means that only you can edit that training.
Okay.
So once you have this training listed, or once you add training, it's going to be listed on your courses page. And I was showing the category, like, so these courses, they do not have any category associated. But for example, if I wanted to see all the training within the 100 category, I click add filter, it's going to list all of those courses,
Okay.
or only the courses in the 100 safety series.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what these little filters are. Any of this information can be filtered. So for example, if I want to filter the name, if I do starts with, it's not going to pull anything because all of the courses are going to start with the JTC or JCT. But if I change this to contains, then add the keyword safety, then all of the courses that have safety in the title are going to appear. I can also change this where it says does not contain. So any courses that contain the word safety will not appear. And if I want to save this to my report, all I have to do is click the drop down and click save, and this will be updated. So every time I come to this page, that's how this page is going to be displayed. Are you going to have any instructor-led courses managed in the system?
We normally don't, but I'd like to know how to do it if I decided to do that.
Okay, sure. I'll touch on it. Again, if you decide you do want to use it, it would probably be best if we have a more focused training session, because I'm just going to go over this at a high level.
That's fine.
And general page is going to be just the same as the others: availability, completion, messaging, resources. The nice thing about this system is you see the same means of management throughout the system. So you don't have to learn a different means for each type of object. The one thing that's different on instructor-led courses is the sessions. So whenever we build, let's say we'll call this monthly safety meeting, and we'll add sessions. We'll call this September safety schedule. We'll select the instructors that are in the system. So right now you don't have any instructors selected. I don't believe this is something that's required, but if you have someone that's in the system that's going to be in charge of managing the attendance within the courses, then this is where you would set them up. And I'll show you this whenever we're editing users, where you can define someone as strictly an instructor in the system.
Okay.
Venue, you can add venues in the system. Let's say if you have a conference room or something, then, or different types of conference rooms, different names of conference rooms, you can set where that's going to occur. And this is going to be in September, so I'm going to have this be September 14th, and it will be from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Select the time zone, and I'm not going to set recurrence because I really only want this to occur once since it's in September. Enrollment, I'm going to allow self-enrollment. And so anybody within the department will be able to self-enroll into this session. And I'm not going to have any approvals. We'll say the users can start enrolling within a date in the past. I don't know if it'll let me do that. I'm going to go ahead and select September 1st, and we'll have it go through the 4th. Minimum class size is 1, and I can set, let's say, a minimum or maximum class size of 20 people. We can enable a wait list, which will allow a user to be added to another occurrence of the course, but really we only have this one occurrence. Then save, and I'll come back over to sessions, and I see I have the September, and I can add another session, and we'll call this October. Allow self-enrollment, and we'll have the department. So I have 2 individual sessions, and these are set for self-enrollment. Now the availability is not set. So what this is going to do, you can assign this training to a user, or you can also set the self-enrollment rules. So if you want the anyone in this department, anyone in your organization to enroll, this is going to allow them to enroll in the training, and it's also going to allow them to self-enroll into the session. So you have to think about self-enrollment within the instructor-led courses in 2 ways: the overall course and then the sessions. So if we had the availability turned off, we can still assign this course to users, and then they can pick whatever session they prefer. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we can set whether or not we want them to have a certificate post-enrollment. So you've seen all this information before. So I'm going to cancel all out of that. Move over to users, since we only have about 15 minutes left. I want to make sure we cover everything and then have time for questions.
Okay.
So users, we do have the ability to set this layout. So we have username and email. Maybe I don't want email address to show up, since that they're both the same. If I have any job titles that are set, we don't have those set in the system. Maybe I want to see the last time they logged in.
Okay.
And just want to save that, click create new. Create new, and then I can set this as my default report. And we'll see nobody else is signed in except for me. But you've signed in too, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to select a user, and like I said, you have different options based upon the number of users that you have set. So I'll just go down the list. Message users is just going to open up a dialog box where you can send the users an email from the system. Activate users, if you have users that are deactivated and you want to reactivate them, this is how you would do that. Same if you want to deactivate users in the system, select the user, click deactivate. Reset password. Reset password, I want to really focus on this for a second because this is something that I know you will use.
Mhm.
So if you want to reset a user's password, select the users, and this is going to send an email to the user with a link to reset their password. And this will expire after 24 hours. But what I think users use more than anything is the new user email. So whenever you're ready for your users to log into the system, all you would do is go back to my user page. And I want to make sure I'm looking at all the users in the system. So I'm going to change this to 100 and come to my report and save it. Now, anytime I come to this page, all of the users are going to be selected. If I come to select all the users are selected. Let's say I don't want to send this email to myself. Click reset password and then choose send new user message. This is going to send an email to your users and it's going to have their login information. There's also this PDF that I've created that lives on our website. I'll show you what that looks like. And it's just walking the user through setting up their login information and opening courses and the transcript. And you can edit this email as well. So if I select one user, actually I'm going to go back and so I can, if I have another department, if I want to add more departments, like under the Carrollton campus, we can add a new department and move a user to that department. Enroll users is going to allow us to enroll users in a training, create group. Let's say if I have several users and I want to add them to a special group, I can create a group, enter the name of the group and click save. And then going to editing individual information, if I select an individual user and click edit user, this is going to bring up the dialog and it's going to allow me to edit all of the information associated with that user. So if a user has a new email address, you can edit that here. If they have a name change, you can edit that here. We can also change their department. Right now, you only have one department. You don't have any sub-departments. If you want to manually reset a user's password, you can set that here, but you do have to communicate what the new password is.
Okay.
In details, so this pretty much explains itself. So if you want to set a job title, supervisors have to be set manually. And so you do have the ability to set an admin. I need to, if you're going to be setting instructors in the system, I need to give you that ability so you can add instructors. But it's not something that is required, because if you are going to be the only administrator and the only instructor and no one else is going to be managing attendance, then you can edit attendance for a course through the instructor-led course sessions report. And that will list any sessions that you have in the system, and you can also mark attendance.
Okay.
So just want to touch on a couple of the reports. It's kind of hard to train on reports whenever you don't have any completions in the system.
Mm-hmm.
But the learner activity is going to show you courses enrolled and courses, I believe this is courses started, courses completed. So once you have users that are completing training in the system, if you want to schedule a call, we can work on looking at some of the reports together.
Okay, that'd be great.
Curriculum activity is going to be specific to curriculum, so you will have to pick a curriculum. And sessions are going to be specific to instructor-led courses. If you have evaluations turned on for your courses, we do not have evaluations turned on for our online courses, but if you have evaluations that you want to turn on, for example, your curriculum, then you can run reports on that. Instructor-led courses and activity, tasks, assessments. So if you build a test in the system, you'll be able to report on that test here. And so touching on going back to the curriculum. So if you build a curriculum and you paste the progress like we had before, I'm gonna open this curriculum. I'm going to paste the progress. I can have one last group, and this could be my test. So if I add a course, and I don't believe I have a test in the system. Let's say this is the test that I built. I can have that as the last section within the curriculum. So the user does have to complete the test after they complete all the other sections.
Awesome.
So just something to keep in mind. And this is a lot of information. I know you're going to have more questions later. So,
Oh, yes.
So I do want to point out some other means of training that are available. On the bottom right-hand corner, if you see this little blue dot, that's going to be a training center. So with onboarding, you have all of these training topics, like how to enroll a user in a course. If we click on that and click Take Me There, it's going to walk me through the steps. So click on users. So it's walking me through the steps for that process.
Good, I like that.
And what's also available, if you click on this little support icon, there's Absorb Academy. Click on Absorb Academy, it's going to take you to some online training that's available. And so you have these curricula. So if I click this admin training curriculum, there's a list of courses that I can take. So if I want to enroll in course bundles and see what course bundles are all about, they're short courses. This is only 1.5 minutes long. So just another training option that's available.
Good deal.
So any questions?
Not now. I'll get into this thing and mess with it, and I'm sure I will be calling you back soon.
Okay.
Some more time.
Okay, great.